logged in as a case study engineer into the TDM portal, and what we're going to look at now is masking. So one of the things we might do is go through and review, as you remember from the last video, review the data discovery. We ran a PII scan where we tagged sensitive data in the data that we were looking at for our environment. And now we're going to actually leverage those tags to look at masking rules and then actually mask that data. So if I go through and getting started, what I'll see is you have two views. You have a table view and a tag view. This just lets you look at per tag how many different tables or columns out of different tables you might be masking. For example, in material number, you can see that I'm actually masking data for EBON, EKBE, EKPO, and so on, leveraging the same masking function across all these different tables for material number. So I've gone and assigned a masking rule for material number since we don't have it out of the box masking rule for material number or specifically tagged for material number. So I took one of our out of the box rules. We have tons of rules that allow you to consistently mask data in different ways, depending on what your data requirements are. So in this case, I'm using a function called format encrypt, which will actually consistently transform the data, keeping the pattern of the original data, and just actually changing the characters and digits about that data. And every time it sees a particular number, like let's just say in this case, this material number, when it sees this number, it's going to mask it in the same way no matter how many different data targets we're looking at. As soon as it sees or seeds the value with the original value, it'll mask it in the same way. That gives us consistent masking across multiple data targets. And then we have rules that'll do that across flat files and things like that. So this allows me to assign different rules to different types of functions. For example, I'm looking at the street address across all these different tables. And so I chose to use a US address masking function where I'm hashing, choosing a list of values out of a seed list, and I'm hashing from the original value, which allows me to be able to, if I see the address in multiple tables, that same address will actually get transformed into a new value out of this seed list consistently every time. That way the addresses across the different tables will line up as they're supposed to. Same thing with plant number. In this particular case, I'm actually leveraging a format encrypt, which will give me a very consistent masking operation across multiple different tables or multiple different data stores. So other areas might be interesting, like the SWIFT number. We already have functions built in for credit cards and other different social security numbers and other different commonly formatted numbers. So in this case, we actually have a function to do a hash from a list of values of sample SWIFT bit codes. Right, so we provide that as a part of the product. So all these different tags are associating masking rules to all of these different tables. So if I look at it from the table view, I can look at each table, for example, this vendor master table, and I can see all the columns that are going to be masked with this set of rules. So when I did the PII scan and I went through the due diligence of confirming which fields I cared about and which fields were actually PII fields and tagged them, then I can associate masking rules, or in some cases, if they're out of the box tagged, there's already masking rules associated with them. Now you can change those and customize those as you need to. I can click next. We have various different functions that control the behavior of masking. We can scale out masking horizontally to mask large amounts of data very quickly. And so you can leverage different configurations to be able to accomplish the masking that you would like to do. Now in this case, I'm actually going to mask all the tables. I can actually just mask certain tables within my environment. I can mask a different environment. So I have a choice of what I want to mask out of what's been tagged. And one of the things that's really nice here is masking data in preview mode. This allows me to be able to simulate the mask without actually changing the data in the data target. This is really handy to actually test your rules to make sure that they're going to do what you expect them to do. So I can go ahead and kick this off, and our test data management tool is really a job engine that's going to process this job. So you'll see I got a job running here. It's going to give me the duration, and it says right here we're using preview mode, so I'm not going to actually mask the data in the database, but what I'll do is actually process all the rows that are available, and then give examples of what the masking would do, showing before and after. So I'll show you a job that already ran. This one is the same masking that I just kicked off. You can see we processed almost 32,000 rows, and it took about 33 seconds. So this one should finish shortly here. But I'll go ahead and for time's sake, just download the masking audit so we can see what it looks like. So here I will show what was actually masked. So let me just, I've opened this up into numbers because this is a CSV file, and I'll actually show you a little bit about what was masked. So here you can see what schema was used, which database, which schema, what tables, and then within those tables, what columns, and then for those columns, what particular function was used, and what the before values were and what the after values, right? So for example, this bank number here became 100, it was 110, and then it came 88922, right? So if I go down and I look for, bank L somewhere else in another table with that same number, here it is again, bank LZ, no, that's not the same one. So let's look at one that's actually the same. Let's look at material numbers. So TG10 and all these different ones actually turned out to be the same numbers, 0088. So we masked them consistently. Same thing with the plant number here. 1710 became 8501. Here it is again, this material number, TG10, consistently masked in a different table, right? This one was the EINA table. This one was the EBON table up here. Right? So we consistently mask that in the same way. So this is true across many of our functions to be able to provide consistent masking across, here's the plant number again, 1710 became 8501. Here's another situation for material number. The material number was MZRM30002, and we switched it to HH XQE08914. Now notice the dashes. So we kept the formatting of the original format, right? The uniqueness of the format, and just switch the characters and digits, right? So we consistently can do that. Other areas that might be interesting is, for example, I think down here, like this IBAN number. So here we're consistently changing the last digit. So you see it's 0001, and now we've changed it to the 789-123, and see it's a consistent pattern. And we left the IBAN brackets, right? So these are all just how you configure the rules to be able to get the masking results that you're looking for.